With the second pick in the 2020 NFL Draft, the Washington Redskins select Chase Young, defensive end, Ohio State.
But you know, as they say, hail to the Redskins. Let's roll, man. Let's go.
Welcome, all my fellow Redskin brethren and sistren. I am your man and resident Redskins fan, Luke. Thank you for joining me here on the Redskins Report. Be careful what you wish for. You just might get it. Now, I don't know any of this to be factual, okay? Everything tonight is based off of conjecture and drawing inferences. So you guys bear with me, follow along. We'll get to any super chats that may be in the comment section after I lay everything out for you that I have surmised to this point. And again, I'm just connecting dots. I don't know if any of this is 100% true or not. Something's going to happen. If you watched my video yesterday that I did, and I told you I had this feeling in the pit of my stomach that something was happening. There was a storm brewing. I didn't know what, and I still don't, honestly. I think I have an inkling as to what's going on here, but I don't really know. And trust me, we're going to find out eventually. All of this is going to be laid out for us. Everything is going to be in front of us for us to see. And there are going to be heads that roll. And the one that we care about the most could potentially be on the chopping block. That being one, Daniel M. Snyder. Now, before we get to that, I just want to get you up to speed on how we got here. Because me talking about Daniel Snyder potentially being out as owner is a bombshell. This is a guy that we thought was going to run this organization into the ground until the day he died. All right. As Redskins fans, the only thing worse than the name being changed was probably Daniel Snyder being the owner for the next 50 years. Okay. However, a lot of you were willing to trade that. We talked about this. Remember, I gave you guys a scenario. I said, would you trade Daniel Snyder out as owner for the name having to change? And a lot of you said, nah, I'll deal with Snyder. I don't want the name to go anywhere. Look, the name is out of our control. That's done. It's gone. It's not coming back. However, now that we know we can't have the name, why can't we at least get a new owner? If we're going to start this thing over fresh and clean, might as well clean house, get rid of the owner, and start anew. All right, that's what I'm going to sign up for. Now, let's get us up to speed on how we got here. So, I talked about it on the video yesterday, but to recap, there's been a lot of chatter among people in the know, people in the Redskin media circles. All right, a lot of the beat reporters dropping little tidbits our way. Okay, we all have been overconsumed with the name change, the logo. What are they going to change the name to? This, that, and the third. We've been so consumed with all of those things that some other things were happening behind the scenes that we kind of just said, oh, we're chalking it up to everything with the name. And the first thing that should have been a red flag for all of us, but we were so consumed with the name, was that minority owners wanted out all of a sudden. Okay? Like, let's not pretend that Fred Smith didn't know that the Redskins organization's name was a problem when he decided to extend a 27-year contract to have the name of his company on the stadium. Okay? Let's not act like that wasn't an issue then when he extended that contract out to Daniel Snyder and the Washington Redskins. Okay? So it should have dawned on me then that he and Robert Rathman and the rest, Rothman and all the rest of these guys, Robert Shaw and Shaw and all of those guys, Dwight Shaw, wanted out. I should have thought about it then, but I didn't. I just said, oh, maybe this is the time to get out. Coronavirus, there may not be a season. Maybe there's a little bit of loss in revenue. Maybe this is the time for them to get out. But that was the first clue, that the minority owners wanted out. Why all of a sudden you want out now? Okay, so that was clue number one. Then, of course, you get the whole name change situation, and that started to stir about. And then, you know, as we were figuring out what the name would be, and everyone's throwing in their opinions, and they're throwing out different logos and different iterations of the uniform and what it should look like. And I'm telling you right, right now, and we'll talk about this at greater length tomorrow. There have been some really good suggestions by some people that have put together some stuff. We'll talk about that tomorrow, though. That's not what we're here for tonight. So then you see all of those things, but subtly on Twitter, you're talking about the name to some of these prominent beat writers, whether it's Julie Donaldson or it's John Keim or the one that stood out for me the most was JP Finley. And I told you that yesterday. So if you haven't watched the video from yesterday, you need to look at that one. But I talked about JP Finley putting out a tweet that said, it's going to be a long week. And then JP followed that up with another tweet the following night that said, it's going to be a very long week or busy. I think the word he used was busy. It's going to be a busy week. And not all of it is going to be name change. And not all of it is going to be good. And that got me to thinking, what are you trying to tell me, JP? So then I told you I've been following all of these different people and there were more crumbs being dropped. And then Julie Donaldson was the latest crumb that I had that came my way when she said someone was asking her about the name. They did not even ask her for this information. And she volunteered it and she said, look, what's going to happen is disgusting and it's vile. And I'm thinking, well, goddamn, Julie, what could it be? And so it got me to thinking, if it's disgusting and vile, and someone was asking her about Kelvin Harmon's injury, and she's going off topic, all right, and this wasn't something that was asked of her. This is something she volunteered on her own volition, that what's coming is going to be vile and disgusting. And I'm thinking to myself, well, damn, is it that bad, Julie? And then today, this was the one that made me think, oh, this shit is really about to hit the fan. Something major is going on because now I'm connecting the dots. You got a name change. You got minority owners wanting out. You got all these beat writers who are in the know. And I told you what Jason LaCanfora, and I know a lot of you don't like Jason LaCanfora. You think he's a hack, whatever the case may be. I told you what he said. And I read you the tweet. Let me see if I can find it real quick. But I told you what he said yesterday and how he pretty much, and he's got this thing for Daniel Snyder. And you know what? I'm not mad at him about that. All right. But he said the warped and toxic culture of the Washington football team is about to be exposed in a sickening fashion again. And I told you guys that stuck in my craw. And I said, look, I don't really know what this is about. But if he's using strong language like that, Julie Donaldson is using strong language like that, JP Finley says it's going to be bad. All right, it's not all going to be name related and it's not going to be good. They're trying to tell us something without telling us what they're trying to tell us. And so it got me to thinking, and the last straw for me, the one that broke the camel's back was Larry Michael, the voice of the Redskins for the last 16 years. Out of nowhere, resigning, retiring. You call it what you want. All right. He said, I'm going to pack my shit and go because it's going to get ugly and I don't want to be caught in the middle of this shitstorm. So when that happened, because look, if it was something that the organization had done like they've done in the past, Larry wouldn't have gone. Larry had no reason to leave the organization. Nothing has ever gone wrong before in the past that has prompted him to pack his shit and go. And so in my mind, this has to be really serious. If a guy like Larry Michael, who has had a comfy, cozy job as a Redskins, the voice of the Redskins, and he's got some kind of title that he had that he retired from, if he's leaving, something serious is about to happen and be exposed. All right. So now when you connect all the dots, when you put all of this together in one gigantic pot, all right, minority owners want out. Larry Michael out, all right, as the voice of the Redskins for the last 16 years, damn near 2 decades. You're being forced to change the name, and Daniel Snyder he's fighting this behind the scenes, but he's already relented. You're in no position to fight at this point when what's about to hit the fan hits the fan. So you're changing the name, and maybe we're getting to a point now where Daniel Snyder is going to be out. And that's what tonight is all about. I think that whatever's about to be exposed, and a lot of you, and I want to thank all of you guys, Redskins fan all day, a number of you out there hit me up. There was someone else that hit me up as well. Can't Rob Dak, at Can't Rob Dak, or at Texas Cowtown, all of you guys for sending me a lot of information on this. But the person that sent me this first was my man JP, John Perez, at Johnny P 2294, my man JP, who is a staunch supporter of the brand. He sent me this information, and I don't know how accurate this is, okay? But I started to connect these dots long before JP sent me this. This is just making me think that there may be some validity to this. So I'll read you what he sent me. So this is from someone's thread on Twitter at Pinky Reggae Party. So this one says various sexual assaults and drug abuse or alcohol abuse throughout the organization, ? So not saying that that's the case, but is that the case? Maybe. He says the owners are going to force Dan to sell. He won't be able to recover from this. Think it'll be way worse than Panthers' Jerry Richardson force out. And then this is from another post that JP sent me. All right. And I don't know where this is circulating. I think it's probably more so on IG than anywhere else. But it says, for those who aren't Skins Discord, here's what I got. All right. And this is from Pent 41207. And it says, WAPO article is coming tomorrow, Friday at the latest. Rats are fleeing the ship and attempting to distance themselves while they can. Larry is the prime example. Others could be following suit. This goes far higher than anyone can think. Larry Hess and Eric Schaefer are involved as well. Jay Gruden as well. Again, we don't know this to be 100% factual, but we know Jay Gruden's got a sketchy past. We did a video on that about, a year ago, 6 months ago, whatever it was, when that old video circulated of Jay smoking, kicking it with some females, looked like he was high out of his mind and also probably a little tipsy. So we know Jay's got a little bit of that in him. All right. But again, that was in his past. I'm not here to dig up a man's past, but nonetheless, it says sex assaults, drug abuse, drug and alcohol abuse. Other owners are furious, and this could lead to Snyder's removal. In no way Dan could have knowledge of at least some of it. OK, minority owners are furious and fed up with Dan, saw an opportunity to strike. So again, I don't know how factual any of that is, but this sounds about right because the bombshell that's coming to me has to have some level of sexual nature to it or something big. You fired 2 personnel guys in July. Okay, I talked about that yesterday. All right, so throw that in the pot as well. You fire 2 personnel guys, and they're reportedly wrapped up into all of this as well. I don't know if that's factual or not, okay? At the end of the day, something major is happening. And the reason all of these beat writers are telling you that something major is coming and it's going to be ugly and nasty, and you've got a national writer in Jason LaCanfora telling you that the Redskins skeletons are about to be out of the closet yet again and exposed again, is because they already know what's coming. They just can't tell us because somebody's got the full scoop. And maybe it is the Washington Post. All right. Somebody's got the full scoop and they're going to unleash it in probably a long, lengthy column exposing everything that is going to put Daniel Snyder immediately on the hot seat and potentially out of the league as the Redskins owner. That's why JP Finley, that's why Julie Donaldson, that's why Jason LaCanfora, that's why they can't tell you exactly what's going on because they know, all right, they're in the know. They know what's about to hit the fan. They just can't say it because of the courtesy that you extend to other people in the media. All right. They know what's coming. They may have already even read the article. They probably haven't. All right. However, they know much of what's going to be in it and they can't say it because that's the Washington Post. That's their scoop. They got the story. You got to let them break it and allow them to get all of the viewers and the traffic that's going to come with it. So maybe that's in fact what's going to take place Thursday. All right. Or Friday. Either way. This shit is about to hit the fan, and I think it's something epic. All right. And Dan himself may not have been involved, but the fact that it happened under his watch, if in fact any of this is true, all right, the fact that it happened under his watch You're basically talking about Joe Paterno at Penn State, where, look, Joe had nothing to do with everything that was going on, but he knew about the shit that was going on, and he turned a blind eye to it, and because of that, he had to go too. He knew what Jerry Sandusky was doing. He just didn't do anything about it. You're not telling me that Dan doesn't know what the hell. Remember, we've had a cheerleading scandal already with this organization. So this isn't that far-fetched, guys and gals. Okay? This isn't that far-fetched. We've been down this road with this organization before with cheerleaders and things of that nature. So it's not that far-fetched to think that maybe this thing was a little bit bigger than we were led to believe when that story was first broken. I'm just saying, I don't know the particulars of any of this. I'm just telling you that something's going on here, and if any of this is true, and if the Washington Post is dropping a bomb, Dan's not going to be able to escape the wrath of what's coming his way. We're in this environment right now where heads are being chopped off. All right? I mean, square cleanly off your shoulders if you're not careful. One misstep, kaboom, black suits fill the room. And if Dan has any implications, or if any of this is true and it happened under his watch, the owners, I think, around the league are already sick and tired of Dan Snyder. He does not have many allies among the 32 NFL franchise owners. I think maybe 2 or 3 of them may be guys that actually consider themselves friends of Daniel Snyder. There aren't many in his corner, and I think most of the league wants Daniel Snyder gone because of what he's done to this franchise. This is a storybook franchise. It's supposed to be one of the pillars of the NFL. It's in one of the biggest markets in the NFL, and yet it's one of the worst run franchises. They've been the laughingstock, one of the laughingstocks of the league. And because of that, I think the NFL sees this as an opportunity potentially to get Daniel Snyder the hell out of town. And if this has any legs to it, of any kind, Daniel Snyder is going to be forced to sell this team similar to the way Jerry Richardson was forced to sell the team. And remember, if this is on as large a scale as we believe, this is way worse than Jerry Richardson. All right, that was just a sexual harassment suit that the league said, all right, you got to go. It's the Me Too movement, and we just can't have it. We can't have a black eye on our league. You got to go. You got to sell the team. Well, if that's got Jerry Richardson out as an owner, this is way worse if any of this stuff is true. Again, all of this is hypothetically speaking because we can't substantiate any of it. But hey, look, when you put us to work as, internet and IG and social detectives, all right, when you put us to work, which is what J.P. Finley and Julie Donaldson and Jason LaCanfora effectively did when they continued to drop crumbs but not tell us anything. You put us to work, and we started connecting the dots, and we see that the minority owners are trying to get out of there. We see that they just fired a couple of employees that they would have fired if it were for on-the-field reasons. And we've already been told that the reason those 2 guys were fired were off the field, non-football related reasons. You guys, use your brains, okay? They're telling us without telling us some shit's about to hit the fan, okay? And so I'm telling you guys, more likely than not, if any of this is true, we're going to have ourselves a new owner. This is what we asked for, okay? All right, I'm guilty as charged. This is what we asked for as fans. We've been begging and pleading for this. So I've got on all white because this feels like a new beginning. I feel fresh. Now, I hate that it's coming at the expense of potentially some women and another black eye on the organization. At this point, who gives a shit if it means that Daniel Snyder is out? This is what we want. If we want to have a real legitimate shot at being a franchise that can get back to the glory years, we got to get Daniel Snyder the hell out of here. We all know this to be a fact. And if this is the way we got to do it, by all means, sorry, Dan, you got to go. So I'm just telling you guys, I don't know what's going to become of this situation. All right. But I will tell you this. This feels like the beginning of the end of Daniel Snyder's reign of terror over this organization. I don't really give a shit what it's going to be called. If we're getting Daniel Snyder, I remember I posed the question to you guys. I never thought it would actually come to fruition. Never did I think in my wildest dreams I'd be sitting in this chair having this conversation with you about potentially having a brand new name, but more importantly, a brand new owner. Okay? Because when I posed that concept to you guys and that question, I actually thought about it briefly, like, man, it would be nice to have a brand new owner. I don't want to get rid of the name, And as a wise man once said, that name's got my daddy's blood on it. The name stays here. All right? You can take everything else, but the name stays here. But I thought about it for a second, and I said, man, what I wouldn't give to get Daniel Snyder's ass the hell out of here. Well, I may have had to give up the name. All right? That might have been collateral damage. However, getting rid of Daniel Snyder means a fresh beginning for what has become a very stale organization. Come on, aren't you guys tired of having to do this song and dance every year with this organization mucking something up? Don't you want a chance at being a relevant franchise for all the right reasons? Here's potentially an opportunity to do exactly that. So I've laid it all out there for you. Let's get to the comment section, and we're still going to go live again tomorrow. All right, and we'll probably have more. And maybe they'll break the story tomorrow. Maybe the Washington Post will drop that damn bomb. I'm talking about this is Pearl Harbor status. All right, this is Hiroshima right here, potentially. Maybe it comes tomorrow. Maybe it comes Friday. I don't know. Thursday seems like the perfect day to do it if you're going to do it. Don't let that just kind of fade into the weekend. No. You drop that on Thursday. You let that simmer. I mean, you let that shit marinate. And then Friday, everybody picks their ass apart. And maybe by Saturday, Daniel Snyder is forced to sell the goddamn team. Who knows? We'll see. Everything's been happening so fast lately. Everything's been happening in warped speed. Why not this, right? We got a number of people that are interested. We all know Jeff Bezos has the bread to buy the entire franchise. All 100% stake. Right from everybody. All the minority. The reason Jeff Bezos doesn't want to come on board right now is because who wants to be a silent partner under Daniel Snyder? Nobody. Which is why the 40% share that's out there right now, they're having a tough time getting someone to buy it from him. Nobody wants to be a silent partner under Daniel Snyder. But if his ass has to go and he's got to sell him, his wife, and his daughter has to sell their 60%, well, all of a sudden, a guy like Jeff Bezos is like, hey, let me get some of that. Hey, matter of fact, I'll buy the whole thing. Let me get all of that. So I'm just saying. Let's get to the comment section, though. I see I got a couple of super chats, so I do want to get a little bit of that and read what you guys have to say before we potentially get out of here. Chris Devers, thank you for the super chat. Chris Devers, who writes, "You the best in the biz, hashtag Star Lounge." My man, Chris Devers, what's going on, man? Appreciate you dropping through, even though you're a Cowboys fan. You're my guy. I got another super chat, this one from Abuho. Thank you for the super chat, Abuho. Greatly appreciate you. Abuho writes, "If Snyder is being forced to sell the team, I am happy. 21 years is enough, and I hope Ted Leonsis will buy the Washington Redskins team." I don't think it's, first of all, you can't buy an NFL franchise if you own another team in another league, which is why Jack Kent Cooke was forced to sell the Los Angeles Lakers when he bought the Washington Redskins. So Ted Leonsis cannot purchase the Washington Redskins because he owns the Wizards. That's just an NFL rule. That's why he's allowed to own the Capitals and the Wizards, but he cannot own the Redskins. It'll have to be someone that doesn't own a team in another league. But you're right. 21 years of this is enough. All right, I feel like the water boy. Hey, water boy, 21. He said 20 years of this is enough. Hey, water boy. Yes, Mr. Coach Boy, you sir. You're fired. Okay, that's how I feel about Daniel Snyder. 21 years of this is enough. Hey, Daniel. Yes, you're fired. Okay. Hey, thank you for the super chat, Abuho. Greatly appreciate you. Gearcell1, thank you for the super chat. Greatly appreciate you, GearCell1, who writes, with all the speculation going on, is that why I just saw Daniel Snyder wearing corduroy overalls with white flip-flops? Tragic. Maybe that's the reason why, man. He just don't give a F at this point, man. He knows the end is coming. Maybe he sees the end of the road. All right? And I'd love to see him wearing, corduroys with white flip-flops. I'd love to see it, man. I'd love to see it. But in any event, that would be tragic. But as long as it's on the way out with a pink slip, I'm all for it. Appreciate the super chat. GearCell1. Got another super chat. This one is from Barrett Downing. BD, my man BD, is always holding me down. Thank you for the super chat. Thank you for the super chat. Everyone that has super chatted to this point. My man BD writes, today is my birthday, so thanks for the crazy news. Hey, BD, you a July baby just like me, man. You're not a Leo, but I still claim you anyway because you share the same birth month as me. It's the best month of all 12 of them. Welcome to the club. Thank you, and happy birthday to my man Barrett Downing. Everybody wish my man Barrett Downing in the comments a happy birthday. And hopefully this news is true. That's what it's all about at the end of the day. Nicholas Giacali, thank you for the super chat. Nicholas G, my man Nicholas G writes, if this is true, what effects could it have on the upcoming season if ownership has to change before or in mid-season? Well, all you have to do is look no further than the Panthers situation. When Jerry Richardson had to sell, it happened very quickly, and new ownership came in, took over. He kind of left everything status quo those first couple of years. But remember, when David Tepper took over, he inherited Ron Rivera and everyone else on the staff and really didn't make too many changes. And then, things went south that second year that he was the owner. And that's when he got rid of Daniel Snyder. And you see what he's doing for that organization. He's very progressive. They're going in a different direction. They tore down the statue. Well, we've already done all of that extra stuff, so that doesn't need to be done anymore. So honestly speaking, if someone else comes in here, they're going to have input, which is why I don't think that they can name the team right now, because if a new owner buys the team, what if he doesn't want the team to be the Red Wolves? What if he wants it to be, the Prime? And I'm just throwing out the whole Bezos angle, okay? If Jeff Bezos buys the team, he may not want it to be named the Washington Red Wolves. He might want it to be the Washington Prime. You get where I'm going with that, but and I'm just throwing that out there as a nonsensical hypothetical, but you get where I'm going with that. So I think what it really means is everything in terms of branding and creating a new identity has to be put on hold until the next ownership group comes in here, or owner comes in here, and then they are able to decide how to take those steps moving forward. So I think you're going to see a situation, because a lot of you don't understand this, and we haven't been through this collectively as a group, so we don't know, but this isn't a quick process. I know everything has happened with this name very rapidly, but it's not a quick process. We'll talk about that more tomorrow, but one of the biggest things that's going to come from this, if in fact Daniel Snyder is forced to sell, is that you're not going to be able to rebrand this thing. The new ownership group is going to probably have that opportunity to do that. So all of that stuff will be pretty much put on pause. All right, so I think that's the biggest thing that would come of this. Nothing on the field will be affected. Ron Rivera and his crew will still do what they need to do. The players will remain the same. It'll really be the stuff off the field that will be put on hold if this were to actually take place. Thank you for the super chat, Nick G. Got another super chat. This one is from, let's see. Got another super chat. This one is from Trevor Patch. Thank you for the super chat, Trevor Patch. Greatly appreciate you. Trevor writes, would moving the team out of the DMV to a new city be something that will be discussed? I don't think that's going to happen. I don't see, again, this town, where the team is located right now in the DMV area, it's one of the most lucrative areas. It's one of the richest in terms of development. And really, before Daniel Snyder ran this thing into the ground, it was one of the most storied storied franchises in the league and worth the most, and it's still evaluated pretty highly. Why is it evaluated so highly? Because of where it's located. So the NFL won't have this team moved. Okay, it just can't have the Redskins somewhere else. It's not going to work. Or the Washington, football team somewhere else. It just doesn't work. It's like having it's like having a league and not having a team in New York or not having a team in California. Like, it just doesn't make any sense. It's too big of a market to not have a team there. So I don't see the Redskins going anywhere out of the DMV. I just don't see that as a possibility. Thank you for the super chat, Trevor Patch. Got another super chat. This one from my man JP. Thank you for the super chat, JP. My man John writes, got another bombshell emerging as we speak. Rumors of sexual assault allegations against Snyder himself are floating around. Again, I'm not touching that with a 10-foot pole. I don't know if he's involved in any of this. So far, Daniel Snyder, we can't stand him as an owner, but he's done a great job of staying out of anything malicious off the field. So I'm not going to be one to judge and to throw that at. Look, again, we know that we've had issues with this organization with the treatment of cheerleaders in the past. So it's not that far-fetched to take it a step further and say that there's some really erroneous activities going on potentially behind the scenes with sexual assault and some other things, maybe under the influence of alcohol, maybe some drug usage. I don't know. Again, I'm not going to pinpoint any one particular person. I don't know who's involved, who's not. I don't know who's clean, who's not. But when you see people like Larry Michael, who probably has absolutely zero to do with any of this, packing his shit and going before this thing hits the fan, you know that something serious is about to happen. And it doesn't matter whether Daniel Snyder is actually physically involved or he's not, but it happened under his watch. He can't separate himself from this. He cannot separate himself from whatever's about to take place. So if any of this is true, he's done. Whether he is actually involved himself or not, he cannot separate himself. If this happened under his watch, and you got coaches. Remember when Rick Pitino was fired from Louisville for the whole scandal where his players, were doing, things with prostitutes and things of that nature. Like, that happened. He tried to act as if he didn't know. It happened under his watch. Okay. When coaches are paying, or, someone under that coach is paying players to play for their university, it's happening under your watch. You can't separate yourself. Nothing happens in these organizations, in these programs, without the top dog knowing everything that's happening. That's how they got there. They didn't get there by delegating to people and just turning a blind eye. They got there because they're micromanagers. All right. Daniel Snyder wants to have daily updates of what's going on with the organization. You don't think he knows what's happening behind closed doors with some of his staff, with some of these cheerleaders or whomever? So, like I said, he can't separate himself, whether he's involved directly or not. He can't separate himself from this. So, thank you for the super chat, JP. Tylenol, thank you for the super chat. Greatly appreciate you, Tylenol. My man Tylenol writes, more heads will roll, old timers as well. Frankly, I love it. Anyone in the booth during the game will be fresh and new. Can't hardly wait. It seems like everything's going to be young, fresh, and new. But again, gotta wait for this bomb to drop. I don't want to overstep my boundaries, but I told you that something big was happening yesterday. I've got a little bit more intel today. I feel a lot more confident today than I did yesterday that this is going to be something that involves Daniel Snyder and potentially forcing him to have to sell. Yesterday, I wasn't as sure. Yesterday, I just knew something. I just thought it was another nasty dark cloud over this organization that we've. If you've been a fan of this team for the last decade, you don't even have to go back 2 decades with Dan. If you've just been a fan the last decade, you've seen enough of these dark clouds to think, okay, all right, this is another one of these stories that's going to come out and make us look bad. And as fans, we're going to have to suffer through this. This is a little bit different. This feels different, and this is different. And this may actually yield us a different result, one that a lot of us as Redskins fans have been asking for quite some time. So we will see. But thank you for the super chat, Tylenol. Got another super chat. This one from Armin Brown. Thank you for the super chat. I greatly appreciate you, Armin. Thank you for the super chat. Got another super chat. This one from Slope. Greatly appreciate you, Slope. Thank you for the super chat. Slope writes, funny how Dan has been out of the country for all of this and been silent. I feel bad for Rivera. He didn't sign up for this. He did not sign up for this. But this is the thing you had to know if you're Ron Rivera. If you were going to come here, this was a part of the gig. You knew you were coming to a dysfunctional organization. And look, I don't know if he did his homework or not. Talking to Joe Gibbs was not suffice. If that's the only person he talked to before he took this job, he was poorly informed and very misinformed, because he should have been doing his due diligence. He should have been talking to Mike Shanahan. He should have been talking to various people around the league that have dealt with Daniel Snyder to know exactly what he was getting himself into. But I will say this, while you're right, poor Ron Rivera for having to deal with all of this stuff. No, he did not sign up for this. I can honestly say that it'll be a fresh, clean slate. Now, the one thing that I think is really unfortunate in the case of Ron Rivera is that if, in fact, this is enough to force Daniel Snyder out as Redskins owner and force him to sell, that new owner may come in here and may not come in with a coach-centric approach where Ron Rivera is in total control and he's running the show. You get a new owner in here like a Jeff Bezos, who everything he's touched has turned to gold. He's going to want to probably come in here and have his golden fingerprints all over whatever happens with this team, and that will definitely reduce the role Ron Rivera is playing in the organization. And maybe then at that point, Ron will be like, this is not what I signed up. I signed up for Daniel Snyder to be my owner and for me to be in total control, not for someone else who may actually be better overall for this organization, but less better for me, because now I'm not in control and now I got people telling me what I should and shouldn't do. I didn't sign up for that. So while on one hand, you're absolutely correct. Ron Rivera did not sign up for this. However, it may be a blessing in disguise for him, or it could be the polar opposite, and it could be a nightmare for him in the making, because again, he signed up for Daniel Snyder. He signed up for total control over the organization, a coach-centric approach. This next owner may come in and he's not all about coach-centric. You're not running the show. I am. You're going to do what I tell you to do. Similar to the way when Daniel Snyder took over, how they wanted to run and gun and have fun and fire up Redskins 1 and go pick up every free agent out there. And I'm not saying that's what the next guy is going to come in here and do, or the next group is going to come in here and do, but you know that's a distinct possibility. And so, yeah, while Ron Rivera didn't sign up for all of this nonsense, he should have known that this comes with the territory. This is what this organization has been for the last 20 years under Daniel Snyder. So this shouldn't have come as a surprise to him. I don't think he knew exactly what he was getting himself into, but he should have known beforehand that this is a messy organization, and just getting rid of Bruce Allen wasn't going to solve all of your woes or cure all of your ills. So we'll see what happens moving forward. But I can tell you this much. Dan has been out of the country. He has been silent. And I think we know why he's been silent. First of all, Dan's always silent on any issue that involves this team. It's not like Dan's been one of these vocal owners like Jerry Jones, who is out in front of these types of things, and he can't wait till he can get in front of a mic so he can hear himself talk. Daniel Snyder is a recluse. He's always been a recluse, and he's never been one to handle these issues. That's why he wanted a coach-centric approach. No more Bruce. Okay, Ron, you handle all of this stuff. So Ron's been out in front. But I think another reason you haven't heard from Daniel Snyder, because he knows this shit might be over, and there's no way around it. We'll see what happens. But thank you for the super chat, Slope. Greatly appreciate it. Got another super chat. This one from Armin Brown. Thank you for the super chat. Greatly appreciate you, Armin. Armin writes, I feel bad for Ron, but if you had a coach in a position like this, I would take Ron over any other coach. I love the strong foundation that Ron Rivera puts up. And we saw this in Carolina. There was a lot going on. And you know what's crazy is we talked about this before with Rivera, because we said, man, this is going to be a strange offseason. All of these changes, you don't have a chance to get these guys into the facility. He hasn't had a chance to get his hands on these players. And what have we been able to say? Well, Ron Rivera has dealt with this before in 2011 when they had the lockout, when the players in the union and the league couldn't get together on an agreement. There was that lockout and the players weren't in the facilities. And so Ron's dealt with this before. So now here we are again saying the same thing. Look, Ron's dealt with ownership change before. If that in fact is going to happen, I have to keep prefacing everything I'm saying with that line. If this in fact is something that is going to take place, who's the man for the job? Ron Rivera's the man for the job, because Ron's done this before. He's gone through ownership change while he's been on a staff. And so this happened to him in Carolina. And it's been the most recent ownership change that we've seen in this league. And so because of that, it makes me feel that much more comfortable that Ron Rivera is our head coach, because he's dealt with this before. So this isn't going to shake his foundation. It's not going to rattle him. Now, I will say this. A lot of this stuff coming down around him and the foundation crumbling around him may shake him to the core. But he's a guy that, to me, strikes me as someone that is going to stay poker faced in the midst of something like this happening around him. He's going to be the calming voice that is able to keep everyone focused on the task at hand. He'll keep everyone working with tunnel vision, even though around him everything's on fire. He's going to be in the middle of that, keeping everybody cool, calm, and collected. So I, like you, feel like Ron's the right man for the job. As we continue on, thank you for that super chat, Almond Brown. Got another one from my man CD Chris Devers. Greatly appreciate you, Chris. Thank you for the super chat, CD, who writes, I know this is skins, but I wanted to hear your rebuttal with Eagle fan comparing Dak to Tannehill. You killed it last week. Absolutely, 100%, unequivocally garbage. I wanted to kill him on the spot, but it wasn't my show. I didn't want to hijack this show, but are you kidding me? Dak Prescott, Ryan Tannehill aren't even on the same wavelength. I don't want to get into a deep dive on that. If you really want me to get into a deep dive on that, come and join me tomorrow. I'll be more than happy to discuss that with you at great lengths. But yes, you know how I feel about that. That was trash. And what Ryan Tannehill did last year was awesome. And happy for him, got a new deal, all of that good stuff. But he is nowhere near on the level. And I get it. He won 2 playoff games last year, got his team to the AFC Championship game. Dak Prescott hasn't won a playoff game. I get it. Or has won 1 playoff game. No. Yes, they beat Seattle. I get it. 1 playoff win in his career. All right? Oh, wait. Yes, I said that right. But that's nor here nor there. Okay? Bottom line is he's much better than Ryan Tannehill. All right? So thank you for the super chat, CD. Really appreciate you. Protect Sports. Thank you for the super chat, Tones. Greatly appreciate you, my man, Protect Sports. Make sure you're checking out his channel as well. He's putting out a lot of content, and he's following all of this very closely as well. So make sure you're checking out my man, Protect Sports, over on his channel and see what he has to say on a lot of these different topics. But my man, Tones, writes, I'm glad you did this stream, bro. Collab soon. I'm all for it. You know what? Just hit me up. I've always said, hit me up well in advance so I can try to clear out some space for you. But you know I'm always down for the cause. So I appreciate you checking me out tonight. Got another super chat. This one is from, let's see. This one is from Extra Squaw. Appreciate the super chat, Extra Squaw. Greatly appreciate you. Extra Squaw writes, making Daniel Snyder sell would be amazing, but think about how Haskins and Rivera would be on the short leashes with a new ownership with no ties. Thoughts? I mean, again, all of that comes with the territory, and that's what I kind of just talked about with that comment a couple of super chats ago where, yeah, there are some implications that potentially could be coming down the pipeline. Again, Ron Rivera can tell you firsthand that he got a raw deal in Carolina, which is why he took this job so quickly. And he told us as much, that he felt like he got a raw deal in Carolina. And so the first team that gave him an opportunity to right what he felt like was a wrong, which was the Redskins, he took the opportunity. Could he have waited? Maybe the Giants or the Cowboys or the Browns come calling? Maybe. But the Redskins were the first to offer him an opportunity, and he took it. And he felt like he got jobbed in Carolina. And I do too. I told you that when he was first fired. I did a video. Go back in the archives. I said that Ron Rivera was hosed because he literally got that team in a position to be competitive without Cam Newton pretty much being healthy the entire season. Cam Newton played the first 2 games and essentially was done for the remainder of the season. That's why that team wasn't any good, and he bared the brunt of that unfairly, unjustly. So to me, but that's what happens when you get a new owner in there that has a vision for what he wants to do and is looking to do everything the way he wants to do it. And so you're absolutely 100% spot on. If you get a new owner in here and he and Ron Rivera aren't on the same page and he doesn't like the direction that things are going, because remember, this is a rebuild. All right, this is not a quick fix. And if the next owner comes in here and he's not able to see that, and he thinks that, oh man, you guys went 5-11 or you went 6-10 this year, and then next year we go 8-8, and he's not happy with 8-8. Doesn't see the progress, doesn't see where we came from, but only knows that that's not good enough. Ron could be on a short leash. Dwayne could be on a short leash. Yes, you're right, because Daniel Snyder was the one who handpicked Dwayne Haskins. If Haskins doesn't come out and ball right away, for all intents and purposes, he could be on the chopping block as well. That could have happened whether Snyder was here or not. All right, if he's here, probably less likely that Dwayne's gone after this season, but make no mistake about it. Dwayne has to show improve this year, or Ron Rivera himself might be like, you know what? Let's take this in a different direction. So while you're right that, ownership change could be a gift and a curse, I much rather roll the dice and just go with it. I much rather have the ownership change. And I think that new owner is going to come in here and realize that Ron Rivera is the real deal, and this is the guy you want leading your franchise. And that Dwayne Haskins looks the part, and that's the guy that I want leading my franchise as my franchise QB moving forward. And so everyone's got something to prove, and hopefully it's for a new owner. That's the hope. All right, we'll see what happens, though. Thank you for the super chat, Extra Squad. Got another super chat. This one from John McAdams. Thank you for the super chat, John McAdams. Greatly appreciate you. John writes, bro, what a breath of fresh air. Feels like if this happens, we actually have a chance to be something again. Wapo needs to hurry up and drop this story. Yo, I told you that's why I'm dressed in all white, man. I feel refreshed. I feel reborn again, all right? I mean, this is the equivalent. If you're a Redskins fan and you've been a long-suffering Redskins fan, this feels like being reborn again. It feels like you've been dipped into the NFL pool, all right, and you've been brought back up, and you're new again, all right? All right, so that's what this feels like. It's a breath of fresh air, I agree. And if the Washington Post is sitting on this story, they're waiting for the perfect time to drop it, and they're dotting all their I's, they're crossing all their T's to make sure that everything is accurate in the story. Because, again, once they drop this bombshell, heads are going to roll. And, Daniel Snyder is very petty. We've seen this in the past. Remember when there was an article written about him and he felt like he was being defaced. His character was he tried to sue. Like, we know Daniel Snyder is very, very petty. He's a very sensitive individual. So everything has to be 100% factual and accurate in this article, or else it could go sideways. So I think that's what they're waiting on, is to make sure that they fact check everything multiple times to make sure that everything that they're putting in their story, they can back up. So whenever this drops, whether it's Thursday, Friday, next week, on Monday, Tuesday, I don't care. It's coming. All right, it's coming. The sooner the better. I agree. I just want it to all be factual and enough to get, Daniel Snyder out of here. And again, I hate that it has to happen this way. But this is the only way we can have it happen. So if that's what has to happen, touche. Thank you for the super chat, John McAdams. I couldn't agree with you more. All right. Moving right on and along. Got another super chat. This one from Farrah Cody. Thank you for the super chat, Farrah Cody. Farrah writes, Jeff buys the team. He's moving it to his hometown. I don't see that happening. Again, if he buys the team, my whole thing is First of all, the league, I don't think is going to allow. Now, again, I get it. Once you buy the team, you're in total control. You can do whatever you want. But the league also has a say-so in what's going on. Like, you're not just going to uproot a team that has been a fixture in this area for the amount of time that the Redskins have. And I'll take it a step further. Again, the league needs a team in this market. It's too rich of a market. It's too wealthy of a market in terms of market share, in terms of population, in terms of the importance and relevance of where it's located. I just don't see the league allowing anyone to come in here and decide that they want to uproot this team and move it. And that's not an easy process either. So I just don't see that happening. But, we'll see. Again, I'm willing to kiss the dice, roll them, and hope it comes up nice. I'm willing to take that risk, man, to get Daniel Snyder the hell out of here. So whatever happens, happens. Let's go to the next super chat. Got another one. This one here from King of the North. My man, King of the North. Greatly appreciate you, King of the North. Thank you so much for the super chat. King of the North writes, damn, I feel bad for Ron. Maybe he brought good luck with him, though. Looks like Bruce was holding all the dogs at bay because the hounds have been released on Danny Boy. Maybe that was the case. There was a reason. And remember, we've said this before. There was a reason that Bruce was kept on board, even though the level of production under Bruce was subpar. It was below mediocrity. Even though it was at the level that it was at, there was a reason outside of him just being Dan's buddy. Okay, everyone just chopped it up. That's Dan's drinking buddy. That's the guy that Dan's gonna play a little bit of miniature golf in the office with. Nah, it was more than that. When shit hit the fan, the guy that took the brunt of it was Bruce. And so when you remove that crutch, when you remove that barrier, now all the shit's coming downhill and it's going to hit Daniel Snyder directly in the face. Now, there was a lot of things that we didn't give him credit for. And look, I wasn't about giving Bruce a lot of credit for anything. But there are a lot of things that behind the scenes Bruce handled that, did keep the dogs at bay. And one of those things was the name. Don't fool yourself. That thing could have gotten out of control. Now, it doesn't matter if Bruce was here or not. Since George Floyd was murdered, everything and the chain of events that set everything into motion, it doesn't matter who was in this organization. This shit was happening. All right. Once that boulder started rolling downhill, no one was going to be able to stop it, including Bruce Allen. But he's kept that thing at bay for a long time. And Dan's just not the guy to do it. And, when you look at this situation, again, I kind of feel bad for Ron. But at the same time, I don't, because, again, Ron had to know what he was signing up for. Again, if nobody told Ron, shame on the people around him, including his agent. All right. And if Ron was told prior to signing on the dotted line, hey, look, man, it's a lot of sketchy shit that goes on in that building. You sure you want to do this? And the only person he talked to was Joe Gibbs. And Joe said, look, there's a lot of things that you got to know. But above all else, Dan's not a bad guy and he wants to win. And he went off of that. Then I can't feel too bad for him because he was naive in thinking that all he was going to do was come in here and coach ball. Because it's always more than that with this organization. But the flip side to that is, if Dan's gone, maybe he will just have the opportunity to just coach ball. All of that extra nonsense that's been happening for the last 2 decades may actually come to a screeching halt finally, and the football people can do their jobs, and maybe we can all just be able to enjoy the product for what it's supposed to be. And maybe Ron is one of the biggest beneficiaries of a guy like Daniel Snyder being out. Or maybe he could be one of the biggest losers. We'll see. It could go both ways. But again, as I've mentioned already, I'm willing to roll the dice. Okay? And I'm willing to see what happens if I can get Daniel Snyder the hell out of there. So thank you for the super chat, King of the North. Got another super chat. This one from the Cubone. Thank you for the super chat, Cubone, man. It's been a while. Good to hear from you, man. Greatly appreciate you, Cubone. Got another super chat. This one from Farrah Cody. Thank you for the super chat and doubling up. Double up. And I think a couple of you might have doubled up. If you did and I didn't double you up, this one's for you. Double up. Sorry about that, but Farrah Cody writes, the higher-ups doing this to Dan for being defiant. The higher-ups being who? I mean, nobody gets higher in this organization than Dan. So I don't know who the higher-ups are. If you're talking about around the league, the other owners, nobody's higher than Daniel Snyder when it comes to this organization. So I don't know who the higher-ups are that you speak of, but Dan did this to himself. You know, whatever's coming his way, he did it to himself because he could have put a stop to this if he wasn't actually involved himself, but it was happening under his watch or under his organization while he was in control. He could have put a stop to this a long time ago, and apparently he didn't in enough time. So he did it to himself is what it sounds like. But anyhow, got another super chat. This one from King of the North. Double up. Thank you for doubling up, King of the North. Greatly appreciate you. King of the North writes, NFL needs a team in nation's capital, access to important people. I just, again, this is too rich of a market. This team isn't going anywhere. I just don't see that, you know. So I don't care who buys the team. I don't think this team is going anywhere. I agree with you. This league needs a team. Every league needs a team in Washington. It's too big of a market. Again, you got to have a team in Texas. You got to have a team in New York. You got to have a team in California. All right, at least one in Florida. These are too big of a market. These are too big of markets to not have a team. And DC is one of those places. Got to have a team there. And so I just don't see this team going anywhere. Just don't see that happening. Got another super chat. This one from James Dean. Thank you for the super chat, James Dean. Greatly appreciate you. James Dean writes, my boy is saying he might be involved with Epstein. I don't know if that's true. Again, now you're taking it to a much larger scale. I don't know any of that, but I know that Epstein has a lot of shit in his book, you know, in his little black book that these type of people always keep. They've got a lot of prominent names and a lot of people that have been doing some shady shit. They keep it all in a nice little journal and diary, you know, just in case you want to try and come after me one day. I'm gonna let you have it. So you better make sure you keep my name out your mouth because I got all your dirty laundry right here in my book. So I'm just saying there could be a connection. I'm not going as far as to say that, you know, it doesn't have to be on that grand of a scale for Dan to be out. So I hope it's not on that big of a scale, but if it is, oh boy, that's all I can say. Oh boy. Thank you for the super chat, James Dean. The Cubone, double up, Thank you for doubling up, the Cubone. Greatly appreciate you. My man Cubone writes, where there's smoke, there is fire. Something fishy is going on. Interested to see how this turns out. You, me, and everybody else, Redskins fans, non-Redskins fans, all alike. We are on the edge of our seats. We're curious as hell to see what exactly is going on here and what the fallout and the ramifications will be from whatever is going on. But I surmise, again, I've already connected all the dots for you guys. I surmise that it's something major, and it's major enough that we're going to see some change. And the change is of the highest order when it comes to an organization being run. And I'm talking about all the way at the top, head honcho. Thinking you're going to see a change at the very top, which is why the minority owners tried to get out of Dodge before this hit the fan. Why you're seeing guys like Larry Michael pack up and go much faster than slow. And why you're seeing people try to distance themselves from this organization. All right, it's not a coincidence. This shit is coming. And I think it's going to be very vicious, flavor delicious, poetic scripture when it does finally happen. Got another super chat, I believe. Let's see if there are any more. Let's see. I do have more super chats. Let's see. We got a super chat here from Tylenol. Double up. Doubling up. My man Tylenol, thank you for the super chat and doubling up. Tylenol writes, what an opportunity for Coach Rivera. He says, now is the time for culture change. Hallelujah, Riverboat and crew. Again, if you're talking about culture change, does it get any bigger than this? I mean, seriously. You can try to do all of the things you want if you're Ron Rivera. Remove Bruce Allen. Remove all of the pieces connected to Bruce Allen. Clean house with the staff. You can try to do all of those things you want, but are you really changing the culture if Daniel Snyder is still the owner? All right, we've seen for 2 decades other coaches coming here with much bigger track records and pedigree, whether you're talking Joe Gibbs 2.0, you're talking Mike Shanahan, both of which were multiple Super Bowl winning coaches, come in here and the culture was too toxic for them to stand. In the case of Joe had had enough. He was ready to go, and he left. You know, he had 1 year left on his deal. But in the case of Mike Shanahan, we saw how that turned out. All right, his legacy was somewhat stained on the way out. But at the end of the day, the best culture change that this organization can undergo is to get rid of the guy that has been the most toxic since he got here, and that's Daniel Snyder. So you're absolutely spot on. And again, as other people have brought up, this could be a gift for Ron Rivera, or it could be a curse. You know, you brought up that it could be a gift for him as a real culture change. It could also be a curse in the sense that the next guy comes in here and wants nothing to do with Ron Rivera. You know, and so we'll see what happens. But as I mentioned already, I'm willing to take that opportunity and that risk. And sounds like most of you guys out there and gals are ready to take it as well. King of the North, tripling up. Appreciate you tripling up, King of the North. Thank you so much for the super chat. King of the North writes, great move doing a stream. Been wanting to chat with other Skins fans about this insanity. You the man. Look, man, I told you as soon as I was able to get back on my feet and get settled in, I was going to come back to you guys. All these things have been happening. It's crazy. As soon as we decided to pack up our things and be on the move, everything started to happen, and I just wasn't in a position to do what it is I do. But now I'm back. I'm comfortable, and man, it feels good to be back like cook crack. And I tell you what, man, couldn't be at a better time because there's so much transpiring. I want to be right in the middle of all of this because I've been with you guys for damn near a decade doing this. So when this kind of move happens, I want to be right there, and I want to be right in the center, happening with all of this and experiencing all of this with you guys, because that's what it's all about when it's all said and done. So thank you for chopping it up with me and being here on this stream. I know it's a little late, especially if you're on the East Coast, but it had to be done. Had to be done. Emergency stream. Got another super chat. This one from Augie 1908. Augie 1908. Thank you for the super chat. Augie writes, I hate 2020. I don't hate 2020. I really don't. You know, a lot of people are like, yo, throw 2020 back. You know, I can't wait till 2020 is over. This year has been a nightmare. I'm not going to lie to you. There's been some things that have happened in 2020 that have been really, really, you know, bad, that you just don't wish on anybody, or you don't wish in general, you know. And it started with Kobe Bryant's death, and it's just kind of just spiraled out of control. But you know what? 2020 hasn't been all that bad for me, at least personally. You know, there's been a lot of things that I've seen transpire that a lot of this change that has taken place, a lot of it has been good. So I can't complain. I don't hate 2020. I'll say that. Augie hates 2020. I don't. All right. There's some things I would change in 2020, but I can say that about every year. So anyhow, thank you for the super chat, Augie 1908. Augie 1908. Double up. Doubling up, Augie does. Thank you for the super chat. Augie writes, I don't think there will be football this year. You might be right. You know, the more and more I hear about things transpiring, the less and less confident I am about football taking place. However, I will say this, these things are fluid. That's why I don't jump to conclusions. I'm still going to be glass half full because that's the only thing I got left. If they take football from me, 2020 will definitely be a tough year to stomach. College football seems doomed at this point. But they don't get paid to do this. This isn't their job. So if they take college football from me, fine. I get that. These are young men that aren't being paid to do what it is they do. this is the NFL. This is these guys' jobs. So, if they can find a way to make it work, have at it. But, unless something happens with a cure or some kind of medicine, I don't think the vaccine is going to be ready this year. So I'm kind of throwing it out. Even though I heard that they're starting to do trials with the vaccine and it's going well. We've heard that before, though. So bottom line is, as of right now, as we sit here July 15th, it sounds a lot less likely that we're going to have a season. But I'm going to remain positive and say that we're going to have a season. But you're probably more right than me at this point. That we're more likely than not going to have a football season. But I'm going to remain positive and say that we are going to have a season, or we will see. Thank you for the super chat, Augie. Gear Cell 1, double up, thank you for doubling up, Gear Cell 1. Greatly appreciate you. Gear Cell 1 writes, don't know how true this is, but rumor out of Jacksonville is Jay has checked himself into rehab. Hope he doesn't wear his Orioles turtleneck. I don't know if that's true or not, and I don't know if Jay has an issue or not. If you ask me about one, and again, I don't know about everybody else's coordinators. We've seen coordinators around this league have issues. We saw the Miami Dolphins coordinator a couple of years ago was doing coke. So look, I'm just saying that we've seen some crazy positional coaches and things of that nature around the league. So I'm not here to judge. However, if you asked me, if there was one former head coach that's still in the league or a coordinator now that Jay's the offensive coordinator that would be capable of having to be checked into rehab, I'd tell you it's probably Jay Gruden. Now, Jay was my guy. I told you, the guy that you most likely on the Redskins staff to go out and kick it and have a beer with and just chill would be Jay Gruden. It's the same guy. But for that same reason, I'm like, I could definitely see Jay having to check himself into rehab. Again, I don't know if that's true or not, and I'm not here to speculate. I just know that, if some things took place here and Jay was a part of it, shame on Jay. And if he is in rehab, good for him. If he needs help, the first step on the road to recovery is admitting that there's a problem. And if Jay's in rehab, that means he's come to the realization that there's a problem. And I want to see him get help. So I don't know how true that is. But if it is true, good for Jay that he's getting help. But and another thing, good he's not here. But after I say that, I'm happy for him. And that's above all else. Happy that if that is in fact true, I'm happy that he's getting the help that he needs. So. Let's see. Got another super chat. This one from Matthew Manos. Greatly appreciate you, Matthew Manos. Thank you for the super chat. Matthew writes, heartbroken, Lou. All this BS. HTTR. Some of this stuff is heartbreaking. The Redskins name changing is heartbreaking. However, this what we're talking about tonight, if it's true, not heartbreaking. Not at all. And I'm totally willing, because look, how many times have we been punched in the face? If you're going to tell me, oh, this is another black eye on the organization, Lou, why do you want another black eye? Look, how many times have we been punched in the face already, man? All right, I still got a little bit of blue right here that's still healing up. I've been hit so many times, I'm like that fighter that in the second round, my eye's already cut. Why? Because I've been cut so many times that eye never really fully healed. So at this point, if you tell me I got a chance to potentially stop the black eyes permanently, if I got to take one more swift Mike Tyson punch to the eye, it may fracture my orbital bone, but it'll heal. If you're telling me I may have to reconstruct my face, but it'll heal and it'll look just like it did before, and I don't have to worry about getting hit ever again, sign me up, man. If you're a Redskins fan, one more black eye isn't going to kill you if it's going to potentially cure you from having to be hit ever again. So while I get that you're heartbroken because there are a lot of things going on here that if you're a Redskins fan, it makes you cringe. I get that. But at the same time, if all of it leads to the bright light that I see all the way at the end of the tunnel, if that all leads to that bright light, and that bright light is actually getting Daniel Snyder the hell out of here as owner, well, you know what? I'm all for it. Sign me up. So I hear you, man. And some of this stuff is heartbreaking. But if this is true, what we're talking about tonight, far from heartbreaking. Got a super chat from Big Money Sonny. What's going on, Big Money Sonny? It's been a while. Good to hear from you, though. Big Money Sonny, thank you for the super chat, who writes, "Let's go Bezos. I need my Amazon stock to continue to blow up. Smash that like button, y'all. Appreciate your news as always, Louie. I appreciate you as always. And it'll be amazing if something happens. If Dan's forced to sell, I think that's the first guy that comes to mind. And I've already heard rumblings and grumblings that he wants in. He wants into the NFL fraternity as an owner. And there are not many of these opportunities, only 32 NFL franchises. And last time I checked, not many of them go up for sale. Doesn't happen very often. Once you get into this elite club, you pass it down to your family. You're not looking to sell. So it's hard to get in. You got a chance to get in, you get in. And so we'll see what happens if this opportunity presents itself. Got another super chat. This one from my man Chris Devers, tripling up. Appreciate you, CD. Thank you for the super chat once again, CD, who writes, "I'm down. I saw you biting your lip. You was alpha." You stupid, man. I got another super chat from Abuho. Double up. Thank you for doubling up, Abuho. Greatly appreciate you. Abu writes, "Will Ron take over as owner? Your thoughts?" Nah. Ron doesn't have that kind of bread. All right. Ron's got some money. He ain't got NFL owner type of money. Hell, Daniel Snyder, when he first bought this team, didn't even have NFL owner money. He had good money. He had a lot of money, but he had to actually sell stakes of this team, which is why he doesn't own 100% of this team. He had to sell shares of this team in order to pay off some of the Redskins' debts that he had inherited when he bought the team. So, Ron Rivera doesn't have that kind of bread. And you don't have interim owners, okay? That's not how this works. Either you own the team or you don't. So the league would own the team until someone actually bought the team. If it takes a while and if there's a process that has to take place. But Ron Rivera will, one of his titles, and he wears many hats in his organization, one of them will not be owner. I can assure you of that. Let's see. Are there any more super chats? Yep, we got more super chats. So let's get to those. Got one here from Key himself. Thank you for the super chat, Key himself. Greatly appreciate you. Key himself writes, "Not gonna lie, I'm feeling good on this vegan diet. As you should. All right. Make sure you're doing everything correctly and using some supplements on the side, but you'll feel great if you go vegan. I'm telling you, it'll be one of the best decisions you made. So have at it. All right. It's not for everybody now. I've said that before. I'll say it again. Being vegan is not for everybody. All right. But if you can do it, do it. All right. Appreciate the super chat, Key himself. Got another super chat. Double up. Thank you for doubling up, John McAdams. Greatly appreciate you. John McAdams writes, "Chris Cooley, new voice for Washington? Possibly. You know, he was in the booth with Sonny and Larry Michael. Sonny, this was his last year in the booth. So, or it might have been 2 years ago, might have been his last year. I think this was the last year for Sonny in the booth. Might have been last year, 2 years ago. But whatever the case may be, Chris is great at what he does, you know. And I think he would be the perfect guy to take over. But this is the thing. He's not a play-by-play guy. He's an analyst. So you need a new voice of the Redskins. You would need someone to actually be your play-by-play guy. That's what Larry Michael was for this team the last 16 years. So I think that you would have to find a new voice of the Redskins, but Chris Cooley would be a bigger fixture, I think, in that booth. because he would have longevity at that point. But Chris Cooley is definitely a guy that I think would have a great opportunity to have a bigger role. And I think he deserves it, to be honest with you. Really knowledgeable guy. And I would like to see him grow within the organization. So we will see what happens there. Got another super chat. This one from Kevin Suggs. Thank you for the super chat, Kevin Suggs. Greatly appreciate you. Kevin writes, this Redskins offseason has been an entanglement. Yes. Yes, it has. So much going on from so many different angles. You think you've cleared one thing, here comes something else. It's just one thing after another. And it started right after the season with the hiring of Ron Rivera and the firing of Bruce Allen. And it really hasn't stopped, since then. There was this one brief down period, right before the murdering of George Floyd, where after the draft, kind of went quiet, and you were like, all right, let's see what this season could be if this coronavirus, if the COVID takes a downturn and we actually have a season. Let's see what we could actually have. And then shit hit the fan and it picked right back up where it left off, and it hasn't been quiet since. So, yeah, this whole offseason has been an entanglement for sure. Thank you for the super chat, Kevin Suggs. Got another super chat. This one is from my man JP. Double up. Think you doubled up. You might have tripled up. I'll just do both in case. Thank you for the super chat, JP. My man John writes, Snyder is done as owner, Lou. I'm calling it now. I believe that is the case, but I can't say it 100% for sure. But it feels very ominous. It feels like the end is near. It feels like something major is about to happen. And the only reason I feel this confident is because things that haven't happened in the past when bad things have happened are happening this time around. You've got beat reporters dropping crumbs because they know something major is about to happen, but they can't say why, because there's a major story that the Washington Post has. They can't step all over them. They got to allow that to happen, but they know it's coming. You've got people leaving the organization that's been here for over 2 decades, or for just under 2 decades. And Larry Michael, that was the voice of the Redskins, he's getting out of here. And he didn't say why. He just said he's retiring. That's a red flag for me, all right? You look at the 2 firings from over the weekend, all right? That's another red flag. Like, things are happening that are uncommon to stable franchises. And I know we've been far from stable for a very long time, but this is uncommon for even the most dysfunctional organizations, which we've been. So this tells me that something major is about to happen. You got 3 minority owners that make up 40% of your organization wanting to leave. This isn't over the name, okay? These guys were here when this thing was called Redskins. This isn't just because they can't stand Daniel Snyder. This is much more than that. So this feels like something major is about to happen. I agree. I think the end is near for Daniel Snyder, but I can't say that for certain, but it feels like it's about to happen. Thank you for the super chat once again, JP. Got another super chat. This one from Millie Mentions. Thank you for the super chat, Millie Mentions. Greatly appreciate you. Millie Mentions writes, keep doing your thing, Louie. Much love. Hope to your network. Much love to your network and you in the future. And much hope to your network and you in the future. Thank you so much for that super chat, Millie Mentions. Greatly appreciate the super chat and the well wishes. Thank you so much. Got another super chat. This one from Chris Devers, who writes, Alpha Bud, you weren't a Dallas fan. Your dad is proud. Yeah, my dad's a Dallas Cowboys fan. You don't have to throw it in my face, okay? So is my sister, one of my sisters. But I survived through the wreckage, and I came out on the other side stronger because I stood my ground as a Redskins fan, all right? But I appreciate you, Chris Devers. You've always been my guy, CD, always. So I appreciate you, man, as always. Got another super chat. This one is from Josh Zellin. Thank you for the super chat, Josh Zellin. Greatly appreciate you. Josh writes, Bob Menery for the new voice of DC football. There are going to be a lot of people that are going to be up for that discussion. And we'll see what they decide to do and what direction they decide to go in. And again, I think that'll be up to the new ownership. So that's another thing that'll be, again, all of the ancillary things will be put on the back burner, like the new voice of the Redskins, until you get new ownership. And the new owner will come in and they'll start to fill a lot of those positions with people that they deem to be good fits. And so, the voice of the Redskins will be one of those topics once they get to that point. But so much that you got to get to before you get to who's the new voice of the Redskins. But it'll be interesting to see, first and foremost, if, in fact, and again, I don't want to jump the gun. I don't know how many times I've said if tonight, but that needs to be said. All right. If, in fact, we are finally getting from underneath this reign of terror, we got to find out who our new owner is going to be first, But this feels like it's happening. It feels like it's happening. Let's hope that it is in fact going to take place. Thank you for the super chat, Josh Zellin. Got another super chat. This one is from Adrian Jones. Thank you for the super chat, Adrian Jones. Greatly appreciate you. Adrian writes, as prideful as Dan is, don't expect him to go quietly. My money is on Dan being the last man standing. Thoughts on Red Wolves? I love it. You're right. As stubborn and as egotistical as Dan Snyder has proven to be, as petty as he's proven to be over these last 2 decades, there's no doubt in my mind. I told you when the name was first under fire this last time before it actually was announced it was going to be changed. I said, look, don't expect Daniel Snyder to just go along with this. He's going to go down kicking and screaming. And I think this is going to be the exact same way. But if what we've talked about tonight, if there's any validity to any of this, it doesn't matter how much he wants to go down kicking and screaming. He can't fight it. The league will not stand for it. And I told you, there aren't many allies in his corner. There aren't many guys that are going to go to bat for him. There aren't many NFL owners that are going to say, hey, no, not Dan Snyder. We saw Bob Kraft have some off-the-field shenanigans. You saw how he was able to maneuver around that. He's got enough friends in the league, and he's a powerful owner. So he, as bad of a look as it was for him and potentially the league, he was able to kind of ride that wave, you know what I mean, and just say, hey, I'm Bob Kraft. I got one of the best franchises in the business. Y'all back a little bit. Give me some space. Let me breathe a little bit. That's not Dan Snyder. He didn't have that kind of clout. He didn't have that ability to say, hey, ho. Let me give y'all my side of things. Let me give you what really went down. Let me go to bat for myself. All right? He doesn't get that opportunity. If this comes out and there's any validity to it, and again, it's not far-fetched to be able to draw the connection from where we are, where we were 3-4 years ago with the cheerleading scandal to where we could potentially be when this news breaks, if it in fact has anything to do with this. So I'm with you though. I don't think he's going to go quietly. This is not something that he wants, but it may be out of his control. Similar to the name, it was out of his control. Here could be the same thing. If this is true, this is out of his control. This is out of his jurisdiction. All he can do is say, all right, let me get my bread and get out of here. Sell and move on. And so we'll see what happens. But as far as the Red Wolves are concerned, I'm going to save that for tomorrow. All right? Because we're going to talk about Red Wolves. We're going to talk about the name. We're going to talk about everything. Brandon Sheriff not getting a long-term deal. We're going to probably talk more about this topic itself, especially if news breaks, during the day. If the Washington Post comes out tomorrow and this is their lead story, all hell will break loose. So we'll talk about everything under the sun. But I'll just tell you this. I'm warming up to Red Wolves. I'm still not a massive fan like some of you are. But I will say this. I will admit that I've seen some really good imagery. I've seen some really good concepts for what the jerseys should look like, what the logo should look like. I've seen a lot of really captivating stuff that's attached to the Red Wolf nickname. That is starting to gain steam with me. But look, you guys have already taken that train, filled it up with a bunch of coal, and that track, you've already blazed that track, and that train is way gone. Like, I'd have to catch a flight to get in front of the train to then get on at the next stop. That's how far along that train ride is already gone. It's left the station, and you guys left me because I wasn't on board. But the Red Wolves name has taken on a life of its own. I don't know if they're listening and if Dan's going to remain the owner, if he's taking heed to any of this. I can just tell you this. I wasn't a huge fan of it at the beginning. It's growing on me, but I'm not going to tell you I'm 100% sold on it right now. But at the end of the day, I told you this a bunch of times. I really don't care what the name is. I just want it to start with an R. And it'd be great if it was Red something. That would make it even easier of a transition. You could still keep the fight song, things of that nature. But it's growing on me. I'll say that much. All right. So there's that. Thank you for the super chat, Adrian Jones. Got another super chat here. I believe I got one more. Got two more, actually. This next one is from Kevin. Yep, it's from my man Kevin Suggs. Once again, double up, Thank you for doubling up, Kevin Suggs. And let me take the time to say this, and I should have said this a long time ago. If you haven't already done so, subscribe to the Louie T Network. All right, make sure you pound that like button. All right, I see 500 people in the stream right now. Hit the like button. Doesn't cost you anything. It's absolutely free. All right, so hit the like button and turn on your notifications so you don't miss anything in the future if you already are a subscriber or if you're subscribing for the first time tonight. So thank you for all of your support. That being said, Kevin Suggs, thank you for doubling up. Thank you for the super chat. My man Kevin writes, thoughts on the O-line. Does Charles start at left tackle or Skins give Donald Penn a call? If you were GM, would you have kept Flowers or Sheriff? I would have allowed Eric Flowers to walk. So I think the Redskins did the right thing there. That price tag was too high, especially for just 1 year of him playing well at guard. And maybe that's a sign of things to come. Maybe he's going to turn himself into a whale of a guard. He was good at guard. Let's not overstate what he was. He was good at guard. He wasn't dominant at guard last year. Eric Flowers was good. The expectations that we set for him, the bar was so low, he exceeded them with flying colors. But let's not act like he was an all-pro last year. He just was way better than we thought he was going to be. I wouldn't have paid him $30 million. So I had no problems with them allowing him to walk. Sheriff is the guy that should be here, but I want to see him stay healthy for 16 games. So I wasn't upset at the Redskins not paying him because the man's finished the last two seasons respectively on IR. So I need to see him stay healthy, and then I'll pay him if he's the Brandon Sheriff that we've come to know and love. As for Charles, I think he's going to be your starting left tackle. Donald Penn's on speed dial. He isn't going anywhere. No one's fighting us over Donald Penn's services. If we need Donald Penn, he'll be available out there on the streets. So right now, I would roll with Charles. Sadiq Charles would be my guy until he proves to me that he can't do it. And then you just pick up the phone, you call up Donald Penn, and you keep it moving, So we'll see what happens. But, that's the way I would approach it if I were the Redskins. So, and there'll be more of that kind of discussion and topic tomorrow night as well. Got another super chat. I think this is the last one here from Daniel McCreary. Thank you for the super chat, Daniel. Greatly appreciated. Daniel writes, I don't like the name Red Wolves. You're not alone. I haven't listened to Kevin Sheehan because I've been moving. So I'm like 3 or 4 podcasts behind. But I did see one of his tweets, and he said that, and my best friend said the same thing, and he doesn't watch, follow Kevin Sheehan or anything. So these are two separate opinions that are exactly the same from two people that don't come in contact with each other. So it's not like it's groupthink mentality here, which I think is some of the Red Wolves' steam. I think it's a lot of groupthink mentality there where everyone's just jumping on board because this person likes it, that person likes it, that person likes it. I don't want to be the one that doesn't like it. But Kevin Sheehan said in a tweet, look, he said, you guys grow up. Red Wolves sounds like a youth basketball league name. All right. I don't disagree with him. My best friend said, yo, Red Wolves sounds like an AAU squad or something. I don't disagree with that. But also, as I mentioned, which is why it's growing on me, the imagery is pretty cool. Some of the stuff I've seen. Some of the things you can kind of do in terms of marketing. You know, I've heard the whole, let's name the stadium the Den, and, you know, that'll be the nickname for it, and the defense could be called the Wolf Pack. Like, I don't care anything about that. I don't care anything about any of that stuff. That's cool, too, but whatever. Bottom line is, I just want a name that fits. I don't know if Red Wolves fits, but I can admit some of the stuff that I've seen, pretty damn cool. So I don't love the name. I don't hate it either. You know, I'm not really sold on Red Tails either. Like, I love what it means. I love the meaning behind the name, but we'll get into that tomorrow. Excuse me. I don't want to get into that too much tonight because we got all tomorrow to do that. So I want to thank you guys for joining me tonight on this impromptu emergency stream. I think this shit could hit the fan as early as today. It's after midnight on the East Coast. And so shit could hit the fan as early as today. You know, you guys be on your P's and Q's, Y's and Z's, as I told you yesterday. You know, and for some of you out there, pull your umbrella out, man. Make sure it's a 31, as I said yesterday. Don't want to catch a brick. All right. But there's going to be a lot of nonsense that goes on. But if it's going to result in the selling of the team by Daniel Snyder, I am all for it. In all caps, you can print that. Okay? So, with that being said, got a couple more super chats. Let me read those as we exit stage left. I got one here from Abuho. Thank you for the super chat and tripling up, Abuho. Greatly appreciate you. Thank you so much, Abuho, for tripling up. And he writes, I'm glad I subbed you. You did an amazing job. Keep it up. Thank you. I'm glad you subbed up too. And I'm glad that we were able to chop it up tonight. And I look forward to chopping it up with you in the future as well. Thank you so much, Abuho, for everything. Got another super chat. This one from DCJ. Thank you for the super chat, DCJ. Greatly appreciate you. DCJ writes, Arkansas State University is the holdup on Red Wolves. Me personally, sounds like a high school team. Red Tails is soft in my opinion. Your thoughts? Yeah, Red Tails, it doesn't strike fear in anybody's heart. It doesn't, you know, again, I love the meaning behind it. And we'll get into more of the meat and potatoes of how I feel about every specific name that's been thrown out. And we can get into that tomorrow in greater detail. But, you know, just to piggyback off of what you said, you know, Red Tails doesn't move me. I don't like the logos that I've seen from Red Tails. You know, there was one that I thought was pretty cool, but I don't see that being the logo. And, you know, there's too many jokes that can come of Red Tails. I mean, you guys know the jokes that'll come. You know, if we're all of a sudden called the Red Tails and we stink, I could see the jokes now, you know. So I don't know what's going to happen. You know, there's a guy out there that's hoarding a bunch of names. We'll elaborate on that tomorrow as well. So there's so much to discuss when we start talking name, logo, colors, all of that. And we'll get into greater detail with all of that tomorrow night. So, or today, later on tonight, as I've mentioned already, midnight here on the East Coast. But thank you for the super chat, DCJ. With that being said, I don't see any more super chats. And so I'm going to take this opportunity to now glide to the side. I thank you guys for joining me tonight on this emergency stream. And again, we're going to be live tomorrow night, 8:30 p. Redskins Report live. And we'll talk about everything under the sun. And there's been so much that has transpired since the last time we've done one of these. So I can't wait to chop it up with you guys and talk about everything. So look forward to chopping it up with you guys tomorrow night or later on tonight. In the meantime, you guys take care. I am a Redskins fan, etched in burgundy and gold. My Redskins spirit will never die. Redskins spirit will never fold until we meet again. Hail to our beloved Washington Redskins. Until next time, you guys take care. Have a good one. Stay safe. We'll reconvene at a later date and time, a.k.a. later on tonight for the Redskins Report live. Until we meet again, you guys take care. Have a good one.
Louie T Network.